In 1940, the German company Borgward started to work on the project of a remotely controlled vehicle. It was assumed that the radio-controlled vehicles would be used as minesweepers and make passes in the enemy's obstacles. However, only a few dozen machines were built, which in the end did not find wide application. At the same time, it was decided to continue the development of remotely controlled equipment. The result was the tracked mine, known as Goliath. Such a machine could move around the battlefield, go to the target and blow it up. The machine was supposed to be used to destroy various objects that are within the direct line of sight of the operator. It was assumed that the troops will be able to use it to attack both stationary and mobile objects. The prototype received 2 Bosch electric motors. Each engine was connected to its own gearbox, which transmitted torque to the drive wheel. Thus, each engine set in motion its own track. To control the operation of 2 engines was proposed using a wired system. The control cable was stored on a coil in the rear of the hull and had to be unwound while driving. For automatic coiling of the cable, its coil was mechanically connected to the chassis. A braking device was also provided, which did not allow the cable to continue unwinding when the machine was stopped. In order to avoid damage from the undercarriage, the cable from the coil was fed to a special frame in the stern of the hull, which lowered it to the ground behind the tracks. The prototype was quite compact. Its total length did not exceed 1.5 meters, and it could reach speed of at least 6 kilometers per hour and move up to a distance of several hundred meters, within sight from the position of the operator. A 60 kilograms warhead with an electric fuse ensured the destruction of various objects, including fortifications and equipment of the enemy. Tests of the first sample of the new blasting machine showed the viability of the main ideas used in the project. However, some components and assemblies of the machine needed to be redone. First of all, the whole design was changed and strengthened. The subversive machine, the Sonderkraftfahrzeug, or Special Purpose Vehicle 302, successfully passed the tests and was recommended for use. In April 1942, the firms Borgward and Zundap began the serial assembly of the new vehicle. Production of the Goliaths of the first production version continued until the beginning of 1944. During this time, 2 companies jointly assembled and handed over more than 7,560 vehicles. Several German pioneer units were armed with Goliaths during the Battle of Kursk. The main tactic of application was to advance the vehicle to the enemy's fortifications or armored vehicles, to reach the minimum distance and to destroy it. A relatively powerful charge could cause serious damage to the firing points and tanks. However, this technique had a number of serious flaws, which soon became known to the Red Army. Control of the machine at a distance of several hundred meters from the operator was an extremely difficult task, which could reduce the effectiveness of its use. Various obstacles, as well as explosion craters, which were not noticed by the operator, could lead to the machine stopping and disrupting the attack. With a successful exit to the point of attack, the operator had to assess the mutual position of the vehicle with the charge and the target, as well as independently determine the moment of detonation. Contact fuse or other means of explosion, independent of the operator, were not provided. A lot of Goliaths were destroyed by small arms fire and shrapnel. Unprotected cable was also an issue. If it was cut, the operator couldn't control the machine. The unfortunate use of the new technology during the Battle of Kursk has led to a sharp reduction in use. However, after the start of the battles in Normandy, an attempt was made to reuse the remote-controlled vehicles. They were proposed to run to targets from the trenches, and their specially equipped small dugouts with a disguise. From the end of March 1944 onwards, the German propaganda presented the Goliath to the German public in the press and newsreels as a new wonder weapon against tanks. But as in the case of the Eastern Front, the Western Allies quickly identified the weaknesses of the German technology and began to use this knowledge. During the Allied landing in Normandy, most of the Western Allies' troops encountered the cargo carriers for the first time, which were also available to the German units to secure the Channel coast. Information about successful operations against the landing troops is limited. However, There are reports in the literature about serious accidents that occurred due to the careless handling of the mini-tanks that they found by some Allied soldiers for the first time. The danger of the large explosive effect was underestimated by the Allied troops. In the fighting in the Anzio area, the German army was able to successfully use the device during the invasion against the advancing Allies. But in the end, operation on neither fronts achieved the expected results. By the beginning of spring 1945, the German troops had approximately 6,500 Goliath units in their arsenal. The relatively low rate of use of remotely controlled blasting machines, among other things, led to the fact that most of this technology with the end of the war became a trophy of the Allies. The vast majority of such products were disposed of, but some samples managed to survive. Currently, according to various sources, at least 24 Goliath cars of all series modifications are kept in museums in several countries. The experience of the German troops showed that the subversive machines of the Goliath family could not justify the hopes placed on them. This technique had too many disadvantages for the full practical application. In addition, it embodied not the best and most promising idea. It is known that in the post-war period, the victorious countries that have studied German experiments in various fields did not pay much attention to the remote control subversive machines. The once promising direction of development of military technology was actually forgotten due to the lack of real prospects. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.